everybody. Today we shall speak about dental system. We will speak about tooth description, about movements of mandible and muscles which provide the opening movements, the closing movements, the protrusion, retrusion, and rotation movements of lower jaw. Also, we'll speak about anatomical structure of the tooth. We'll discuss just a little bit about not only masticatory muscles, but also about mimical muscles. And also we shall discuss, we shall speak about different types of teeth, including incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. First of all, we need to tell that this dental system is a single, the united anatomical and functional complex. It's more functional characteristics of teeth and dentitions, jaw bones, periodontium, temporomandibular joint, chin muscles, and the formation of dental-alveolar system, and the integrated functions, dentition and its organs, and reflex arcs, including different reflexes, and including different arcs, and we shall speak about this. Next slide. Dentition is represented by jaw bones, upper and lower jaw, teeth. Here we can see that here are permanent teeth. Human being has 32 permanent teeth and 20 deciduous teeth. And teeth organs involved in the formation of the food bolus, tongue, cheeks, hard and soft palate, uvula, chin and facial muscles, 3 pairs of salivary glands, I think big salivary glands. There are glandular apparatus. It's the biggest salivary gland. It's glandula submandibularis and glandula sublingualis, and temporomandibular joint. This is the slide which illustrates that this is absolutely unique and united complex of teeth when the absence of one of it of this one. Here we can see that here is the 36, the first molar from the lower jaw is absent. The left from the left side, and here we can see the occurred deformity of the dentition row when the only one tooth is absent. Here we can see that the 37th tooth here turned into the proximal position, and the 26th tooth, it moved down to the bottom. And here you can see a so-called Popov-Godon phenomenon, dental alveolar elongation, when we have a vacant space. And so here is a deformation of the teeth row when all these teeth are sunk, get down. This is a very complicated regulation of the chewing process. And this chewing process is the part of all of feeding process. When the first step is the cerebral part, the second part of it is the or dental part, and the last part is in the stomach. So, in the maxillofacial region, you have four main reflexes. First, this is periodontal muscular reflex. The second one is the gingival muscular reflex. The next one, the myotatic reflex, connected with the height of lower 1/3 of the face, and the motor reflex. Anatomical division of the tooth. One moment, please. The description of the tooth, I think. Yes. Here, you can see now this slide. All teeth, including deciduous or permanent, they consist of two main parts. The first part, this is a crown part, and the second part, this is a root canal, radix in Latin. And in the deciduous teeth, this radical part can be resorbed. Yes, and so the deciduous teeth, they change to permanent teeth. So, and the part between them is the neck of the tooth. This neck can be anatomical or clinical. Anatomical. Here it is. Anatomical crown. This is the border between enamel and cement. Here is enamel part. Enamel part is over the gum, for example, normal situation. And here is the cement part over the radix. But here we can see also clinical crown, and this clinical crown is all of the tooth, the part of the tooth we can see over the gingiva. So if we have a very big resorption of the teeth, recession of the gingiva, for example, this clinical part, clinical crown, can be heavily enlarged. So besides enamel and cement, here also dentine, pulp chamber, and the pulp itself. Yes, here you can see this is crown to root ratio. For example, if we have this situation, the clinical crown will be this size. And if we have the situation, we have a highly interdental bone resorption, so we have a recession of gingiva. Then we have a very big clinical crown. It's not good. Enamel, it's largely differs from the dentine, and it contains 96-97% mineral salts and 3-4% organic matter. Dentin contains 70-75 mineral salts and the rest organic matter, water, and fat. Cement is similar to dentine and contains 60% inorganic compounds. So, so if you are going to be a dentist, you have to know that this is a very important to understand the difference between enamel and dentine, so that there are different adhesive protocols, for example, different materials, different pins and posts which are used for enamel restoration or for dentine restoration. Next slide is devoted to dental formula coding viola. This is not the only formula of the teeth row, but it's one of the most frequently used in the Russian Federation. We divide all teeth rows into the 4 quadrants. This is the first quadrant. This is the upper right part. This is the upper left part. This is the lower left part, and this is the lower right part. This is the first incisor. This is the first incisor from the right side. This is the central incisor from the left side. This is lateral incisor from the right side, and this is a lateral incisor from the left side, and so on. This is for the teeth row on the mandible. Now we'll discuss the three signs of tooth ownership, and it will be easier for you to understand what we have already discussed it on the last classroom, but I think we shall repeat now. And the first sign is the sign of crown curvature. The greatest convexity of the vestibular labial buccal surfaces is not located along the central axis of the tooth crown, but is shifted to the medial. And the second one, crown angle sign. The medial surface and the cutting edge of the incisors and canines form a sharper angle than the angle formed by the cutting edge and the lateral surface. I have shown it to you. And the root sign. Root sign is expressed in the deviation of the roots of incisors and canines in the lateral direction, and premolars and molars in the posterior direction from the longitudinal axis of the tooth, drawn through the middle of the crown. Now here are several, many different slides about different parts of teeth row. I will explain some parts, but not the every. You can see it when I have free time. Here, description of the tooth. First, this is a root. This is a tooth part below the gum and covered by cement. Then crown, the crown, yeah. Tooth parts above the gum and covered by enamel. And these are different surfaces of different teeth. So-called mesial part. Yes. Mesial or lateral. All of them we call proximal surface. This is from the right or from the left side. And also we have vestibular surface. Uh, in the back teeth, in the molars or premolars, we can say that it's not only vestibular. We can also say that this is a buccal surface, and the other will be palatal surface. For example, for the teeth on the upper jaw, and the lingual surface for the teeth on the lower jaw. Okay. Also, we can see that this is a labial surface. It will be vestibular surface for the front, for the incisors, and for the canines. And the next part, this is incisal or occlusal. Incisal, this is a cutting surface of anterior tooth, and occlusal, this is a chewing surface of the posterior tooth. Also, we can match the cervical part. Cervical part is very important because all the non-removable dental constructions are highly depend on the situation in the cervical region. And next one, proximal. It can be lateral or medial. You see. Then here you can see this is a lateral incisors, and here you can see that the sign of the crown, for example, when this is lateral incisor, it's very variable, but we can see that this is a incisor from the upper jaw, and it's from the left side because it has more sharper angle in the medial and less sharper angle in the lateral side. Yes, here will be canine. Next one. Lower jaw, central incisor. When you look, you can look in your mirror at home, and you can see that this is a unique tooth because it is only one tooth of which except wisdom teeth on the wisdom teeth. This is the only one tooth which contacts only with one opposite tooth. You can see it in the mirror that this central incisor of the lower jaw it opposites only with the central incisor on the upper jaw. And this central incisor on the upper jaw, it contacts on the other jaw with the central incisor and the lateral incisor. So next, the lateral incisor on the upper jaw, it opposites the lateral incisor on the lower jaw and the canine on the lower jaw, and so on. Here you can see different. Here, when you see it from the oral surface or from the palatal or lingual surface, all of them it's called like oral. You can see that they have this curve. It's very important because if and when you're going to make a crown, artificial crown, you need to do like that because you need to be this curve. Because if you don't, you will have a big problem with chewing, and your patient will have many complaints to your work, because we'll speak about just a little bit later, but this will be the problem, because uh, your patient's lower jaw, it doesn't move only like that. It moves. It's very complicated movement, trajectory of movement. Yes. Then you can you can look at this one, at this one, at this one. It's not so interesting. You can also, you have a program on your smartphones. It's very good, I think. Yes, premolar. Premolars. There you can look at them. One moment, I'll check my I'll check my. Yes, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Uh, Premolars are very special teeth. They they are intermediate teeth between front group and the lateral group, between molars from the one side and canines and incisors from the other side. And so they have very special form, and you need to be very careful when you preparate them, because they have very big this side, vestibular oral side. It's very big, and they have uh, not have very not very big this side, and they have pulp chamber in these places, in these zones. It's very close. It's very close to the enamel. It's very close. So you have to be very careful when you make preparation of these teeth for the crown. And if you have different problems with it, for example, your patient have has the second premolar has been extracted, for example, 5 years ago, and so on. And that's why his first premolar has turned into the defect. So, if you need to make a bridge, from first premolar to first molar. Yes, you need to prepare this one. And if it's absolutely parallel, it's no problem. But if it's turned to the first premolar, because you have no second premolar, uh, you have to make preparation bigger in this side as in this lateral side. Yes, and you can harm the pulp and the pulp chamber. So in this case, you need to make devitalization to fill root canals and make so-called depulpation, amputation and extirpation of the pulp, and you need to fill the root canals. And then you can make the preparation absolutely easy. Next. You can say it at home, at home. It's no problem. Yes, this one. Yes, one. Because this is occlusal or chewing surface, occlusal chewing surface. The middle part is slightly bigger than the lateral. Here is the third sign of the teeth. Okay. Um, or you can look in the mirror. You can look at home that the upper jaw and the lower jaw have different size and different shape. The upper dentition has the shape of the semi-ellipse, for example, yes? And the lower dentition is a parabola. That's why it's more wider than the lower jaw. That's the lower jaw. And you have in the normal bite here the four types of normal bite. Here the mm, orthodontic, biprognaty, uh, right bite, господи, the right bite, and physiological progeny. And as usual, you have that your patient's front tooth are overlap the lower tooth, and this this protective cusp, it's over this base cusp. This protective is over this one, The uniting of the dentitions created by interdental contacts, the interdental ligaments of the marginal periodontum, and the alveolar process. Dental arcs. Here in the lower jaw, and here the upper jaw. As usual, dental arc, basal arc, alveolar arc. Basical arc is the curve near the apex, through the apex of all teeth, of the lower jaw, of the upper jaw, for example. Next one. This is a dental arc. This is occlusal surface and incisal edge. And here in the middle, here's a alveolar arc. So the in the upper jaw, the dental arc is wider than the alveolar, and alveolar is wider than the basical. This is a dental arc. This is a alveolar arc through the interdental alveolar bone, and this is a basical arc. The biggest, the middle, the smallest. And in the lower jaw, the dental arc is already alveolar, and the latter is already basical. Okay, the larger. Okay, 1, 2, 3. The smallest, the middle, the biggest. Periodontum. This is a complex of tissues. One moment, please. I'm sorry. Periodontum is a complex of tissues surrounding and fix the tooth, closely related morphofunctionally and genetically. Includes a cementum of the tooth root, we have already discussed periodontum, alveolar bone with a periosteum and gum. Here we can see it. Periodontum is a connective tissue located in the slit-like spaces 0.25-0.5 millimeters wide between the cementum of the tooth root and the alveolus. Locate cervical, dental-alveolar, and apical fibers. Here you can see it. This is different types of fibers, just like that. Then angle and the angle in the other side. Lower jaw. Lower jaw. This is uh, movable jaw, a movable part. It's connected to the cranium with the help of temporomandibular joint and different types of muscles, levators and depressors. It consists of body of mandible. Here is body of mandible. Alveolar process, lower teeth, which are socketed in this part and mucosal membrane that attached to them. The next one, this is body of mandible. It supports the alveolar process. Body had lower border forming the chin in the front of the angle of the jaw and the back. On the outer surface of the body, there is external oblique ridge which to which buccinator muscle is attached. Here, as you can see it. On the inner surface, there is a myloid ridge, internal oblique ridge to which myloid muscle is attached. And due to this muscle, we have the bottom of the oral cavity divides into two floors, upper and lower. Mandible ramus so-called. And here are two processes. It's caronados, and this is processus candilaris so-called. Also, on the inner side of the ramus, we can see the foramen mandible so-called. It's mandibular canal through which the nerve and blood vessels enter the body of mandible. And here we can see this canals mandibularis, and here is foramen mentale, which we use for local anesthesia. Next one. Lower jaw, yes. Here, processus coronaidus, processus candilaris, article tuberculum articularis, angle of the lower jaw, This part is very, very important because it changes from age to age. It has its own figures in the childhood. It has the other figures in the adults, and it changed when the man became very old, becomes very old. And so this angle, it's very important because due to this angle of this lower jaw, it depends the technique of the local anesthesia or local terminal anesthesia in this nerve, because this location of this foramen mandibularis highly depends on this angle. Then the bladder flow, mental hole, and chin tubercle. Okay, next one. Upper jaw. Upper jaw is very, very complicated bone. It's very complicated bone. This is made up of two maxillary bones joined in the middle. Joined in the middle. Here, here, here. This bone contributes to mouth cavity, nose cavity, and floor of the orbital cavities. Each maxilla has a large air synuses, maxillary sinus or antrum, which is connected to the nose cavity. There are four types of air sinuses, but the biggest is situated in the upper jaw. It's called maxillary sinus, or in Russian гайморовая пазуха. Я не могу сказать как это. I don't know how it's in English, but maxillary sinus. Okay. This antrum is above the roots of the upper second premolars and molars, and it can be three types. It can be intermediate type. It can be intermediate type, it can be sclerotic type, and it can be a pneumatical type. The last is the biggest. When we have the root of premolars and molars in the maxillary sinus. And we also have a sclerotic type. This is the best type for implantation, where you have enough bone between the apex of your root canals and the bottom of your maxillary sinus. Harpalate. It's a very important part for removable dentures. Forms the roof of the mouth. It's formed by two palatal processes of maxillary bone joining in the middle. If the two palatal processes fail to join during development, the result is a cleft palate. It's very frequent. It's not a very frequent problem, but it's no problem. I will have a very good surgical decision for it. The maxilla is firmly attached to the skull and so immovable. If you have a movable lower jaw, and this upper jaw is immovable. The maxilla carries maxillary teeth. And there are several types of parts. This is a palatal process or palatal bones. These form palatal bones. Yes. These form the posterior part of hard palate and also side walls of nasal cavity. Zygomatic bones, also known as cheek bones, form the upper part of the cheeks. Mandible, lower jaw. This is a single bone of horse jaw shape attached to the base of the skull, not by sutures, but by two joints, and as a temporomandibular joint. And this is a part of temporal bone, and this is a part of lower jaw. And here, this is one of the most important parts, and one of the most frequently big problem part in the maxillofacial region. Temporomandibular joint. We have this is a highly specialized joint and distinguished from the most other important joints by the fact of articulating surfaces are not covered by hyaline cartilage, but by an avascular fibrous tissue. This is the joint to each side of the skull between the condyle of the mandible, the movable mandible, and the glenoid fossa and articular eminence of the temporal bone. This is a gangliomo-arterial joint. That means it has both hinge and sliding action. Ganglimus hinge and arterial joint. The mandible carries teeth whose shape and position have a decided influence upon the movements of the joint. The movements of mandible, its opening, its so-called depression, its closing movements, elevation or muscles which assist their elevators, and also its protrusive movement forward. This is a big movement. Retrusive movement backward. It's not so big movement when your teeth are closed. And rotation movement. Rotation movement when we have a chewing process. This is bilateral articulation with the cranium and exerts a restrictive influence of the movement of the mandible. Here is anatomy. First, a superior joint space, inferior joint space, articular tuberculum, joint capsule, articular disc, and articular head. There are different ligaments which fix it. They assist the muscle in attaching the lower jaw to the skull. There are temporomandibular ligament, a sphenomandibular ligament, a spinolingular, stylomandibular, one slow process to posterior border of mandible, and pterygomandibular, humerus to posterior end of Malahide ridge. Muscles. There are different types of muscles in the maxillofacial region. Some of them help us to smile, to be sad, to open our eyes, to close our eyes, for example. And for example, there are different types of muscle for lips and cheeks, and for eyes. For example, orbicularis oris, that's here, there. That forms a circular loop passing from one lip to the other around the corners of the mouth. When this muscle contracts, the lips are drawn together and the mouth is closed. And there are also several other muscles which are open muscles. This is the zygomaticus triangularis, collatus labia inferioris and superioris, incisivus labia superioris, mentalis and caninus. And these muscles also help us to express our emotions. But now we shall discuss the chewing muscles. There are different classifications. First, you need to read about opening mechanism. Opening mechanism is not so easy because the movements of the lower jaw are not up and down. And we shall discuss it in our classroom. Muscles for mastication Here are two types. This is first. This is posterior group. They attach to the ramus of mandible. For example, masseters, temporalis, lateral pterygoideus, and medial pterygoideus. And anterior group. They attached above the body of mandible, and they attached below hyoid bone. For example, medial hyoidus and geniohyoidus, and anterior belly of the gastricus muscle. And also we can classify these muscles according their action. Yes. First, this is elevators or elevators. For example, this is masseter muscle. For example. This Okay. Masseter muscles. This is temporalis. It's very big muscle. It's very big. It can several fiber cords. Very big. It's attached to the cranial. It's much more than, for example, than musculus masseter. And medial pterygoideus. And also here depressors. This is platysma, musculus digastricus. Here it is. And musculus miliohyoidus and musculus geniohyoidus. And also here are muscles for protrusion. This is a lateral pterygoideus muscle, including lateral pterygoideus. Lateral pterygoideus muscle, including not only protrusion, including rotation. And retrusion in the back occlusion, backward occlusion. It's temporal and superior constrictor of the pharynx. And and this is very important, because when your patient swallows his lower jaw, his mandible, returns to its usual position, to the position of central occlusion or central radio of the jaws, and it's every time. And when you have problem with the determination of central occlusion, we shall talk about it in not the next year, but I think on the third year of your education. Every time when he swallows, his lower jaw returns to its normal position. Now I think we shall end. And I will send this presentation to you in the chat, in your group chat. I'll send, and I'll ask you to read about it, about anatomy and physiology of maxillofacial system, maxillofacial region, the first chapter of the book I have sent to you. Okay, thank you for paying attention. Bye.